Have you heard of the Parthenon marbles? This set of Greek sculptures was built to decorate the Parthenon, the temple of Athena. But these 2,005-year-old artifacts were wrongfully taken by Britain. They have been in the Vatican museums for 2 centuries now. Greece has long disputed the British Museum's claim on the sculptures, and at last, Pope Francis is returning the sculptures to the Greek Orthodox Church. Let's begin with some background. The Vatican's 3 fragments include the head of a horse, the head of a boy, and a bearded male head. These are one of the few pieces that survived the Venetian siege of the Acropolis in the 17th century. 200 years later, British diplomat Thomas Bruce, popularly known as Lord Elgin, sent more than half of what remained to Britain. This has long been criticized as theft. And rightfully so. Most of the surviving marbles are now in the British Museum, and Britain has been reluctant to part ways with them. The Pope's move has incited hope for the Greek, a hope that it will add pressure on the British Museum to return other stolen pieces. But note this, the Pope is donating the sculptures to the Greek Orthodox Church, when it could have returned them directly to the Greek state. This calculated move indicates that the Vatican is steering clear of setting a precedent. It doesn't want the move to affect other treasures in its museums. It's no secret that Greece is eyeing its larger collection of Elgin marbles. The Greek premier reportedly held secret talks with the trustees of the British Museum earlier this month. But the UK is adamant. It says it won't dismantle its great collection. Let me read that again. Its own collection. The UK claims the sculptures as its own, even though they don't belong to it, even though it doesn't have any rightful claim on them. This is just another example in the UK's long history of theft. The country has always proudly displayed artifacts which it plundered from its former colonies, showing no sense of remorse for the past crimes or gratitude for the people from whom these were taken. The royal family has been making a show of dealing with racism, but what about its tainted history of colonization, which it has very conveniently covered up? What about hundreds of other treasures like India's Kohinoor that the UK has stolen? Not just Britain, museums across Europe are filled with such priceless objects, with uncomfortable histories linked to colonialism. Do they really have the right to keep displaying these objects? That's what I want to know. European nations wrongfully took cultural riches. They took them from countries that are now independent states, and most of them now refuse to even discuss returning these artifacts. They refuse to make preparations for these wrongdoings. Speaking of historical wrongs and colonizations, the Netherlands is finally realizing that its golden age wasn't really golden. The period of economic prosperity in the 17th century actually came from the blood and sweat of slaves. The country has now apologized for enslaving people in the Caribbean. Prime Minister Mark Rutte has officially apologized on behalf of the Dutch government. The members of his cabinet will be visiting 7 former Caribbean colonies along with a former apology. The government has promised $200 million to raise awareness against slavery. It has pledged to spend $27 million on a slavery museum. The Netherlands committed crimes against humanity, remember that. And symbolism around crimes against humanity is controversial everywhere. Critics are complaining about insufficient consultation. They believe that the way the apology is being pushed through by the Dutch cabinet has a colonial feel about it. More than 600,000 Asians and Africans were trafficked by Dutch merchants between the 17th and 19th centuries. Enslaved men, women and children were forced to work on plantations. They were subjected to extreme physical, mental and sexual violence. And proceeds from this brutal labor enriched the Kingdom of the Netherlands, contributing to the so-called Golden Age. The people may be donating precious marbles to its rightful owner. The Netherlands may be indulging in politics of convenience. Britain may be in denial about its checkered history of racism. But the world doesn't need a history lesson. We're very well aware about Europe's wrongdoings and the slim chance it can make up for it, no matter how many ceremonies it holds. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.